Hello, my name is George Matos. I'm the host, producer, and creator of The Literature Show. And here is my co-host, Mr. Trevor Duberry.
Hi, my name is Trevor Duberry. I'm the co-host of The Literature Show, and we're here with Julie Swayze, and she will tell us about her store in Los Angeles.
Hi, I own Metropolis Books with my husband, Stephen Bowie. It's located at 440 South Main Street between 4th and 5th, and we are a general bookstore with lots of fiction, classics, and all the bestsellers.
Excellent. We're very glad and overjoyed to be here because our thing is books, so we'd like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind. So tell us a little bit about your store.
Well, we opened December 1st, and I actually come from a background of retail. I have a business degree, and I worked 17 years as a store manager for for Cost Plus and Pure One Imports, and 4 years as a buyer for Robinson's May for stationery and gifts. So sort of put all that background together, and I worked with Valley Economic Development Community Group, and they found the space here in the Canadian building and helped negotiate the lease. And after that, I just sort of began buying books and opened up.
And why do you feel that it was important that you have a bookstore in this particular location in downtown Los Angeles?
Actually, I had looked at what market was underserved, because when you put a new business together, you want to be sure that you're actually in a market that could support you. In other words, a feasibility study that'll determine if it's viable. So with Pasadena was very much a saturated market in terms of retail, and I couldn't even actually find a space to lease that would have been the right size. Downtown's an underserved market. A lot of the retail dollars leave downtown and are in Pasadena, West LA, Los Feliz. So it made sense. Plus, there aren't any general bookstores. And my friend Mark Schumacher opened the Old Bank DVD store in 2005, and it just sort of gave me the idea that if you were to open a business, that downtown is definitely populated and underserved with the retail market. It was a market. It was close to Mark Schumacher's store, and I just sort of felt that with book DVDs, that actually books made sense as well. So it just seemed like, since the historic core was available, I did look at some areas that were a little bit further east and west of here, and they just seemed to be where there wasn't a lot of activity, where Main Street seemed to be sort of starting that sort of renaissance, more so as a street, and some of the other stores, it was just seemed like there was lofts, but not really a lot of retail, and I definitely wanted to put a bookstore by residents, and not have them sort of have to hike to come get me, but kind of be in the center of where they were, so sort of the center of where all the lofts are being built.
I see over here in this section, over to my left, that you have a lot of books in relationship to the early history of the downtown area. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can take a look at those. Okay.
This is one of our more popular areas. It's the historic books that are on historic Los Angeles, historic core. You actually can even see in this book the Canadian building which we're standing in, that was built in 1909, and the photos are actually from 1911. And other books are Art Deco, Boyle Heights, Olvera Street, the Pacific Electric Red Cars, and Chester Place. And people just love these books because they basically just go back into the history of Los Angeles, and they can see the buildings that they live in.
Tell us about the people who wrote these books. Are these individuals historians? Are they local residents?
All of the people that wrote these books, and actually they'll be in March to sign these books. 8 of the authors are local historians. They all live within the historic core in the area and have done extensive research and archives, and the people who just have a passion for the past of Los Angeles past.
Julie, I realize that there is a diversity of books here as I look around. You have Paulo Coelho. I've read that book. Actually, you have Devil and Miss Pine, and I read one of his books, mm-hmm. The Alchemist. And I noticed that you have a diversity of books in your bookstore. As an African-American owner, why not just African-American books?
Well, I think that sort of lends itself to the actual market that you're in. And if the historic core had, say, 4 bookstores and were served by Borders and Barnes & Noble, and also had several independence, then you could really become a niche market where you basically could have a mystery bookstore and a fantasy bookstore and an African American bookstore. But being that this is sort of an emerging area, you really should go general. And I think that basically you're kind of serving everybody in the community, because I do have different sections and things like that. But what's really actually selling is just a little bit of everything, because if there's no bookstore, certainly just having a bookstore means that you have a selection you didn't have, say, in November of 2006. You now have a wide selection. So to go so narrow so soon, you really can't do that. It would be practical. I actually own the store with my husband, Steve Bowie, he's sort of a silent partner. He still works his regular job. He's an engineer for Northrop Grumman, but he does help me out occasionally for Art Walk and sometimes on the weekend.